Hi guys, this is John from US Dash Camera. Today I got a review I was pretty excited for. This is the LG Innotek LGD521. So based on first glance, a lot of you will probably realize it looks just like a Blackvue camera, and it actually shares a lot of the same features, but it is quite a bit cheaper at about $300 to $320 US with an included hardwiring kit. And if you buy the Blackvue DR650S, their current comparable model, with their hardwiring kit, it's going to be about $400. So this one is significantly cheaper. Just like the Blackvue model, this does have 720p rear, but it does of course have 1080p in the front. Claims it has format-free recording, which means you don't have to constantly reformat. The dual record just means it has normal and event. The battery rundown protection is built in, so the hardwiring kit is a little more simple than the PowerMagic Pro. It does have wireless, so there is an iOS and Android app. It supports up to 128 gigabytes. The GPS is optional, so that's one reason why this is cheaper. But overall, it's very, very similar to the Blackvue camera, minus the GPS. So this does also have high temperature protection, so it'll cut off power if it's getting too hot in your car. Here's the hardwiring kit. It's just a barrel connector and can connect to your fuses. And there are some pretty good instructions. I'm not going to go over this just because this is a whole other video on its own, but if you want to use the automatic parking mode, you do have to hardwire it. And this automatic parking mode is pretty much as full-featured as the Blackvue 650S. The only thing it's really missing is when you get back in your car, it doesn't tell you how many impacts or motion detections it's sensed. So let's go ahead and look inside the box. We do have this manual here that does cover pretty much everything you need to know. When you open it up, you'll see the camera on the top with the mount and the memory card. Looking at it, it just looks so much like a Blackvue clone, but there are a few other features I really like about this. For one, there's an actual on-off switch, so if you don't want parking mode to activate, you can just turn it completely off. We got the Wi-Fi and audio button there. Long presses to activate the Wi-Fi. Here you can see the power input, the rear camera, and GPS. So its mount is similar to the Blackvue one too, but it doesn't snap in. Here's the brand memory card that came with it. I don't know why, but it only came with 2 cable clips. Also came with a standard power cable for your cigarette 12-volt port. And the rear camera. Overall, everything seems like it's decent quality, on par with the other cameras like Blackvue and Thinkware at this class of cameras. So it plugs in just like a headphone jack. And there you can see what the two cameras look like side by side. They are very discreet and stealthy, so I really appreciate that. I think having a camera that's very hidden is important. That way, when someone walks by, they don't see there's a camera. Now the memory card does go into the opposite side of all the plugins, and it does have this nice cover to cover it completely. And just like a lot of high-end cameras, it does alert you when it's starting normal or parking mode. I think that's a very important feature because some cameras, for all you know, they might stop recording and you don't even know. So every time you get in the car, you get used to listening to make sure it tells you it's starting recording. Now when it comes to the video quality, this is a 2-channel system. And just like every other 2-channel system, the video quality is not going to be as good as a lot of single-channel systems. Even a $100 A119 is going to have better video quality than this. So if you buy this camera, you're buying it for the automatic parking mode and the second rear channel. But overall, compared to other cameras around this price range, I think it's pretty good. The Thinkware F770, which I run in my truck permanently, has 1080p in the rear also. So that's a big advantage, but that camera is about $100 more. So for the price of this camera compared to Blackvue or Thinkware or Blacksys, I think it's pretty decent. Now the night quality, again, it's nothing super special, but it's not really dark either. I think for the bitrate at about 11 megabits per second for the front camera, it's fair. It's not too dark. Of course you can't see in completely dark areas, but pretty much everywhere my headlights light up, I feel like this camera actually picks up those lit up areas very well, where some really bad cameras with bad night quality, I can't even see the areas lit up by my headlights sometimes, so I'd say this meets my expectations for a two-channel system like this. Now the rear footage I couldn't get direct feed of. It's sort of strange how this camera records. The front and rear records in one file, and it's really random which front or rear feed Windows decides to play. So I'm not totally sure how that works, but you can of course watch it if you use the LG software. So using the LG software, you can choose front or rear. You can do picture-to-picture or side-by-side, and this is pretty good software, I think, for a company that just got into the dashcam business. But like I said, it's only 720p, so you're not going to get amazing footage. Basically, you're only going to be able to get license plates if they're directly behind you and not going 60 miles per hour into your rear end. But it serves its purpose of capturing any people directly behind you or what's happening behind you in general. You're not going to capture cars speeding by you at high speed or in the dark with the rear camera. It's just not good enough resolution or bitrate. And as expected, at night you can hardly see anything, but that's because you don't have headlights shining behind you, and when cars are behind you, their headlights can blind the camera a little bit, so it's hard to see plates even when there's lights from other cars. The most important use you'll get out of the rear camera, though, is going to be the parking mode, and I'll touch on that in just a minute or two. I wanted to continue talking about this software because, like I said, I think it's pretty good software for a company that pretty much just recently got into the dashcam business. And of course, this is LG, the large Korean company. LG Innotek is a sister company or whatever of LG. And here you can see I'm turning up the brightness or contrast, and there's these settings that really help you get the image you want. So even when there were some shots that were super dark, just fiddling around with these helped me see quite a lot better, where some of the really dark areas I could suddenly see again. So I think that's pretty awesome that LG offers this kind of software. And of course, if you had GPS, you could track your movement on a GPS map, but I do not have the GPS dongle to test that. Now up top there are a few features like printing an image or screenshot. There's a zoom feature, but it didn't capture on my software. My software only records one window at a time. But you can also change the settings of your camera, which you can also do with a iOS or Android app, which I'm also going to show. But this is pretty similar to the Blackvue software or Lucas software. A lot of the Korean companies have very similar software that offer pretty much the same features. Now here in the settings, you can see there's all sorts of drop-down boxes to where you can customize how you want this camera to run. These are pretty standard for any two-channel system with an automatic parking mode, so if you've used a Blackvue or Thinkware or a Blacksys camera or any high-end Korean camera, you've probably seen a menu system similar to this or features similar to this. Now one thing I really love that LG did that Blackvue doesn't, and Thinkware does it somewhat, is it lets you decide how much space you want to dedicate to normal files, the event files, or motion detection files. Now, Thinkware offers a few more options like parking motion or parking impact or regular impact, but Thinkware only has 3 preset settings, where this actually lets you choose with these little arrows that you can drag back and forth, so I think that's really awesome. Now, like I said before, this does have the automatic parking mode, and it is buffered for 10 seconds. So if you only have the G-Shock sensing on and someone hits your car in a parking lot, it will save the prior 10 seconds from that impact, and then any additional video for 10 or 20 seconds after, and it'll continue if it keeps sensing an impact. And of course you can turn the motion sensing on, which acts the same way, but it'll save 10 seconds prior to motion also. So here I did test it out in the Mall of America parking lot, and with the motion sensing on in a busy area, it's going to be recording a lot. And there you can see the car drove into the picture several seconds after because of the buffered feature. So if you work or park in a high traffic area, you might want to consider not using motion detection because it might just be recording non-stop all the time. Now with the app, I did have a little trouble with this. The app is pretty full-featured. It pretty much offers all the same options as the PC software, but I kept having connectivity problems. The first time I used it, I couldn't even connect. Everything was up to date, but it just refused to connect to the camera. I was able to finally connect when I brought it inside and tested it out. Here you can see this is a live feed from my floor, and you can of course view the previously recorded files and download them to your phone. And that's going to be the main purpose of the Wi-Fi app to me, because this way you don't have to take the memory card out when you get home or when you're in an accident. You can just wirelessly transfer it to your phone. You can also view the files. So say you get into an accident and want to show the police officer that comes what happened, you can do it right there from your phone. You don't have to take the memory card out. So here you can see I'm having these issues with the app, and it keeps failing to connect over and over. Every time it's happened, I've just had to turn the camera off and reboot it, and then it works. But it's been really frustrating, and even though I said the PC software is really great, the Android app really needs some work apparently because it has a lot of connectivity issues. So this does offer all the same settings options just like the PC software. It is of course laid out a little different, but once you swipe back and forth you can see all the different options. So it's very convenient that you can change any of the settings you want on the fly through your smartphone. Now if you do want to transfer a file over, these files aren't super big because they're, about 15-16 megabits total for front and rear combined. But you can expect a couple minutes to transfer one of the files over to your phone. So if you're going to do it, you got to realize it's not going to be 5 seconds. So give it a little bit of time. So while overall I was pretty frustrated that I had to restart the camera a couple times to connect to it, it is pretty new. And it is really full featured too, so when it does work, it is pretty awesome. I like being able to change my settings on the fly if I need to. So overall, all in all, I am pretty impressed with this camera. I think it's going to give Blackvue and Thinkware sort of a run for their money because this camera is quite a bit cheaper than Blackvue and Thinkware's comparable models. And at $300 to $320, with a 32 gigabyte card and a hardwiring kit, that's quite a bit cheaper than about $400 for a Thinkware Blackvue with a hardwiring kit and a 16 gigabyte card. So you're starting off with a better memory card too on their base bundle. Now if you want GPS, that might be something to really consider. So if you want to display your speed, that is another additional cost. Now Blackvue does offer a even cheaper 2-channel system, the DR470, which also does not have GPS, but that one also doesn't have Wi-Fi. And I haven't used that one, but I used the 451 channel, and I thought this camera's front camera does have significantly better quality than the 450 from Blackvue's front or main camera at least, so I would expect the 470 to probably be pretty similar. But if you're still looking for something even cheaper, the Blackvue DR470 2-channel is only $200, so that's about a whole $100 cheaper than this one. But like I said, I think this camera is better. You're paying $100 more, but you're getting a better camera. And would I replace my Thinkware? Personally, no, I wouldn't, because the Thinkware F770 has better overall video quality and 1080p in the rear. I like the form factor of the Thinkware better, but this is definitely a great option for someone looking for a camera with 2 channels and an automatic parking mode for around the $300 price range. So if you are interested in this camera, I'll provide links down below where you can purchase this. And again, I'd like to thank Blackbox My Car for sending this review unit out. I'll also post links down in the description to my reviews for the Blackvue and Thinkware models that were comparable to this one that I have reviewed in the past, because I think people should really consider those also, even though I do think this is a great option. If you can't afford the Blackvue 650 or Thinkware F770, you might want to consider them. So that's it for my review. If you like this video or my other videos, I'd appreciate if you hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. As usual, drive safe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.